Unholy Night, The Darkness Hunter, is a game for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System that was released in July of 2017. You heard me right, the year 2017. 20 years after the last first-party Super Nintendo game was released. It was developed by a crew who formerly worked on games at SNK. Personally, I was never that into SNK fighting games. I'm not sure why, they just never clicked with me. But this game doesn't quite stack up to what I remember, even for games I didn't play very much. The gameplay is a standard 2D fighting game, just like Street Fighter II, Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, Fatal Fury, or any of those other Super NES fighting games. Attacks are broken down into weak, medium, and strong, being B, A, and X buttons, respectively, while literally every other button on the controller helps you fill your super meter, or what the game calls your synchro gauge. The fighting itself is fluid and fun, and the character designs are at least interesting to look at, although the character Nightmare almost looks like she's wearing sunglasses. I don't know, maybe I'm just seeing the wrong thing, but it's like one of those visual puzzles where once you see the wrong thing, you can't unsee it. Still, the characters have a variety of moves, and the sprite animation holds up well against what would have been its competitors 20 years ago. The backgrounds take great advantage of the Super Nintendo's color palettes. While they aren't perfect, they remind me of Street Fighter Alpha 2 as it appeared on the Super Nintendo. They obviously knew a lot of the tricks to getting the most out of the backdrop, as they appear in some cases to be hauntingly beautiful to me. The music and sound effects are where Unholy Night really let me down. The sound samples are actually okay, though they could have used much more variety. And the voices are nothing spectacular either, but the music is where this game really suffers. Where I was anxious to hear what people might be able to squeeze out of this console 20 years later, I was quickly overrun with disappointment, as the songs were almost all comprised of extremely short loops. I know someone out there is asking what Super Nintendo game song wasn't a loop. And okay, that's fair, but when I say extremely short, I mean extremely short loops. Here's the title screen. The title screen, by the way, never shows a demo of the game. It doesn't have an attract mode similar to an arcade title, and it never fades to story. Oh, but there is certainly a story to this game. When you start story mode, even before you choose a character, you're greeted with this. I'll just let it play in real time so you can see what I'm dealing with. Alright, were you able to keep up with that? Yeah, neither was I. Almost all of the text in this game appears and disappears in a flash. You have to be quick to catch everything. I'll replay the intro again, this time at half speed. Not that it matters much, but while it plays, I'll read the story that's found in the instruction manual. Rule to hunt human beings. The Darkness Clan. As the fear and enemy of human beings since ancient, the darkness were disappeared from the rise of civilization. Okay, I think we see what we're all dealing with here. But they are not perish and standing alive in Darkside. The darkness still hunting human being today. And there are some humans still fighting nowadays as Hunter, whom hunt the Darkness Clan in Darkside. One day, a rumor rang to those who live in the dark fight. The coffin that sealed the Middle Ages' strongest vampire, Catatonia, which had taken away from the sealed palace, and have been placed in the Dragon Palace. The seal that gathers the dragon aura in the palace gradually weakens and eventually broken. Catatonia will be awake with a mighty power that exceeds the past. At that time, world will be in dark era. Darkness... can't do this. Darkness Clan want the power from Catatonia, but hunters try to contain Catatonia again. Dragon Palace, which is somewhere in world. Oh boy. Seeking to revive of Catatonia, Darkness Clan and hunters' death battle have begun. Okay, it's obvious there was some poor translation being done, but all English jokes aside, the game has a pretty cool plot. A world of vampires and vampire hunters, the vampires want to resurrect an ancient evil, and the vampire hunters want to stop it. You have factions within the game, lone wolf vampire hunters, religious orders, and even Emily, who is a housemaid who uses her cover to get close to vampires in their own homes and slay them. A werewolf appears in the game because I guess after Twilight, werewolves and vampires have to do everything together, and other characters still loom in the background, showing a modern-day approach to vampire lore. The game's AI, however, makes the game a bit difficult to complete. The difficulty ramps up out of nowhere. Putting the game in survival mode on normal difficulty, I didn't take a hit until something like the 6th fight I was in, but then I was dead by the 8th. Health drains fast depending on what moves some characters hit you with, or you hit others with. The AI on easy mode is quite dumb until the final boss, and playing on hard mode is about the only way to give yourself even a remote challenge in the early battles, but then you definitely shouldn't expect to make it to the final boss, the aforementioned Catatonia, until you've had a lot more practice. As I've discussed before, tackling a fighting game can be difficult, because the characters always have their own reasons for fighting and their own backstory. But Unholy Night actually simplifies things by having 3 characters on the vampire team and 3 characters on the hunting side. So even though they have slightly different motivations, at least you can narrow down the narrative to 2 main sides in this battle. The game does have story that's shown through brief pre- and post-fight comments, and a little slice in the middle to show your character figuring out where to go next. I admit, it isn't much, but this is one of those cases where owning a game isn't so much about the great experience I had while playing it, or reminiscing about what a cool story I'd had when I played it as a kid. Unholy Night is definitely about having a physical game that was manufactured for the Super Nintendo in 2017. Showing that even when you think it's over for these classic consoles, it's only our story so far. Hey everybody, thanks for watching episode number 62 of Our Story So Far TV. I'm Garrett, aka New Angel. You can always contact me on Twitter at New Angel, that's Nuangel. Feel free to leave a comment below. If you really like this video, like and subscribe, it helps me out. As you probably heard a few weeks ago, I'm not making any money until I get way more subscribers, so I'm doing this just for funsies. If you actually did like what you saw and you want to see more and you can't seem to find it on YouTube, just go over to ourstorysofar.tv where I have every episode archived in 1080p quality. I like to do my best to have a new episode ready for you guys every 2 weeks, so be sure to check back for something new. And until next time, take care of yourself.